Banning groups. This editorial critiques Punjab's ban on terrorist outfits and questions its effectiveness. The Punjab government has released a list of banned outfits, warning the public that giving money to these groups is a crime punishable under the Anti-Terrorism Act, 1997. Banned outfits means groups that are legally prohibited. Anti-Terrorism Act, 1997 is the law under which support to such groups is criminalized. This sentence means that the Punjab government has published a list of groups whose funding is now a punishable offense. Numbering some 84 groups, the list mirrors a similar inventory of supposedly prescribed outfits maintained by NACTA. Numbering means totaling. Mirrors is an idiom, meaning is very similar to. Prescribed outfits means groups that are officially banned. NACTA refers to a regulatory authority that keeps its own list. This sentence means that the list includes 84 groups, similar to one already maintained by NACTA. While these organizations ranging from religiously inclined and sectarian armed groups to ethno-nationalist separatists are supposed to be out of commission, in many cases this is not true, and they operate with relative impunity. Organizations means groups or associations. Religiously inclined indicates motivated by religious beliefs. Sectarian armed groups means groups promoting division along religious lines using violence. Ethno-nationalist separatist refers to groups seeking to establish separate states based on ethnicity. Out of commission is an idiomatic expression meaning no longer functioning. Impunity means exemption from punishment. This sentence means that although these groups are legally banned, many continue to function without penalty. The rationale behind the Punjab administration's move seems to be the fact that as many people give zakat and other donations during the ongoing month of Ramadan, care should be taken so that people's charity does not end up in the coffers of terrorists. Rationale means reasoning. Zakat means obligatory charity in Islam. Coffers means the funds or treasuries. This sentence means the government is acting to ensure that charitable donations during Ramadan do not inadvertently support terrorist groups. While this is a noble aim, the bigger question is why such a large list of terrorist outfits still exists, and why these groups have not been permanently disabled. Noble aim means commendable objective. Permanently disabled means completely rendered inoperative. This sentence means that despite good intentions, the existence of a large banned list raises questions about why these groups continue to operate. As Pakistan faces multiple terrorist threats, the state's approach of banning groups and then letting them operate with new monikers must be revisited if we are sincere in our counterterrorism endeavors. Multiple terrorist threats means various dangers posed by terrorism. New monikers is an idiomatic expression meaning different names. Counterterrorism endeavors means efforts to fight terrorism. This sentence means that Pakistan's practice of simply renaming banned groups undermines real counterterrorism efforts. For example, some groups on the list have gone through several name changes since the Musharraf era. Their names change, but their leaders, operatives, and ideologies remain the same. Musharraf era refers to the period when General Pervez Musharraf ruled Pakistan. This sentence means that although some groups change names frequently, their core identity and actions do not change. Moreover, while the state has banned sectarian groups, they still freely organize and hold massive rallies in Pakistan's cities. Sectarian groups means groups that incite division along religious lines. Freely organize means operate without hindrance. This sentence means that despite bans, sectarian groups continue to function openly. Similarly, while those peacefully struggling for their rights get the rough end of the stick from the state, violent elements such as the ladies and gentlemen of Islamabad's Lal Masjid are treated with kid gloves, with the state negotiating with those who have threatened it on multiple occasions. The rough end of the stick is an idiom meaning suffer harshly. Kid gloves is an idiomatic expression meaning tender, cautious treatment. Negotiating here implies entering into discussions with groups that have posed threats. This sentence means that while peaceful protesters are harshly treated, violent groups sometimes receive overly gentle treatment and even negotiations. Until this glaring disconnect is addressed, Pakistan can ban 1,000 groups, but militant violence will not come down. Glaring disconnect means a very obvious gap or inconsistency. This sentence means that unless the state's contradictory policies are fixed, banning groups alone will not reduce terrorism. If the state has banned a group on paper, this means it has sufficient evidence of wrongdoing against it. This sentence means that a ban should logically be based on proven criminal activity. The logical corollary should mean cases against the leaders and financiers of such violent groups, so that they are prosecuted and jailed. Corollary means a natural consequence. Prosecuted and jailed means brought to trial and imprisoned. This sentence means that banning groups should be accompanied by legal action against their leaders. Though some jihadist leaders have been prosecuted, many others remain free. This sentence means that despite some efforts, most terrorist leaders are still not held accountable. The battle against violent extremism will be a long and hard one, and will require long-term efforts such as promoting genuine moderation in society, as well as de-radicalization campaigns. Violent extremism means use of violence to promote radical ideologies. De-radicalization means efforts to reform extremists. This sentence means that defeating terrorism requires sustained measures, including promoting moderation and de-radicalization. But the first steps of this long struggle must be defeating terrorist groups in the field and ensuring that banned groups are actually banned. This sentence means that initial actions should focus on military and legal measures to disable terrorist groups. If groups are able to re-emerge under new names and continue their destructive activities, all efforts to fight terrorism will fail despite the loss of tens of thousands of precious civilian and security personnel's lives. Re-emerge means reappear. Destructive activities means acts of violence and terrorism. This sentence means that if banned groups keep resurfacing, the fight against terrorism will be ineffective, with catastrophic loss of life. Published in Dawn, March 9, 2025.